So this isn't my typical vintage drum set video. Um, I know not everybody's into the vintage stuff, but I just really wanted to give people an idea of what's out there for not a lot of money. Um, for those who don't know, if you're patient and you have an idea of what to look for, stuff pops up quite frequently. Um, and when this popped up last Thursday on the marketplace, and I knew pretty much what it was when I saw it was a pretty terrible picture too, which I'll pop in the ad. The seller was asking $120 for it. I contacted him. He said he'd take $100 and he'd even deliver it to my house. So I got these 4 drums for $100 delivered to my house. The picture made me a little nervous, the way he had the floor toms were missing the bottom hoops and the way he had them stacked. I was a little concerned about damage on the bearing edges, but when he brought them by, they were actually in pretty decent condition, especially for $100. The bearing edges were good. The bottoms of the shells weren't all beat up or anything like that. I guess when he took the picture, he actually did it pretty carefully and didn't mess anything up. But for $100, I got a 4-piece red sparkle set. I mean, red sparkle wrap, just the wrap alone it would probably cost $300 or $400 to wrap this set just in materials for the red sparkle. Now, I have a friend that's into PDP, and I've actually owned a partial set of these before. So this is a Pacific CX made in Mexico set. There's some folklore behind this series specifically, I guess. They're made in Mexico, not all that far from the DW factory. They're American maple shells. I don't know if they were produced in DW's factory or in the PDP factory in Mexico, but I know the wood is American, I believe American rock maple, something like that. But you know, I spent a couple hours, I got them Thursday, I spent a couple hours Saturday just cleaning them up and getting them playable. I'll pop in a picture of the bass drum. Yep, that's bird poo on the bass drum, which cleaned off really easy. I'll take that over cat pee inside the bass drum or mouse poop inside the bass drum. A little bird poo on the outside, easy to clean off. So like I said, it was missing the bottom hoops on the floor toms, no floor tom legs, but the bass drum was complete. All the heads were garbage. But for $100, I got 4 maple drums that are, like I said, they got some folklore behind them. People love these things. And I wasn't sure what I was gonna do with it. I figured I'd clean it up and play it a little bit. Most of my collection is vintage, and I'm not like really into the imported stuff unless it's vintage MIJ, like made in Japan, or vintage Germany, made in Germany stuff. I like that stuff. I'm not big into the Taiwanese or the made in China stuff. It's just at this point in my life, I've just moved past that stuff. Not saying that they haven't come a long way in quality, and there's some really good drums produced from overseas too, from that area. I bought and sold tons of them, and they're really solid drums. It's just at this point in my life, I prefer to stick to typically vintage stuff made in the United States, Germany, Japan. That's kind of my wheelhouse. But again, I just wanted to give people an idea of what you can get for not a lot of money. Now, granted, this needed a couple hoops, and it needed some love. I cleaned. I didn't strip it completely down and polish all the chrome or anything like that, but I just cleaned everything. And I soaked the tension rods that were rusty in Evaporust, and cleaned up the hoops. There was a little bit of rust on the hoops. But yeah, I mean, it's 12, 14, 16, 24 by 18. it's just a cannon of a bass drum. Honestly, to me, it kind of looks ridiculous, this deep of a bass drum with these small toms. I may, if I end up keeping it, I may cut the bass drum down to 14 inches. That's like my preferred depth on bass drums, 14, 16 at the most. To me, when you start getting further out than that, deeper on the bass drum shells, it loses its tone. It sounds a little bit flatter. So I prefer shallower depth bass drums. I know people out there love them, and everybody's got their own thing. It's completely subjective. It's just an opinion, and it's my opinion. I'm not saying they're bad or anything like that. Just in my opinion, I would prefer this to be shallower. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it. For 100, I had the 2 hoops for it and some of the missing tension rods. I'm still short 3 tension rods on the floor tom. I got some coming in. I just whipped used heads on it for now. But it tuned up really easily, even with the beat up heads on it. And it sounds great. And for $100, like I said, I don't know. I mean, I may sell it, I may keep it. It's not really costing me anything. I mean, it's kind of cool to have at least one newer set, more modern sounding. I mean, vintage drums have their sound. More modern drums with the thinner shells and the sharper barren edges have their sound. So like I said, I just thought I'd do a quick video and show you guys what you can get for $100. Now, if I didn't have the pots and the used heads, I'd probably be into this for, between the heads and the missing hoops, maybe $300. To me, this set's probably worth $450-ish, maybe $500. Because like I said, people really love these CX series. So I'll get you a little closer to it. The bass drum has a little bit of scuffs going on up here. The hardware has a little bit of pitting and stuff like that. But like I said, even if I bought the stuff that I needed for this set for $300, I got a killer set, or you would have a killer set that's maple shells made out of American maple and red sparkle. I mean, come on now. So yeah, I'll get you guys up close, and then I'll play it a little bit for you. And if you want to upgrade your set, if you're a beginner, and you want to upgrade, and you have a set to play already, take your time and find something like a good deal. They're out there. They don't pop up every day, but they do pop up. I've gotten way better deals than this on some vintage sets that I've restored and everything like that. But this was a solid deal for a solid set. And you could play this set anywhere. You could record with it. They're maple shells. I wouldn't call it a pro level set, but it's definitely a solid intermediate. I'll get you guys up close, and then I'll play it a little bit for you. Thanks for watching, and if you like this content, please like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Like I said in previous videos, I really enjoy answering comments and chatting with other drummers. Thanks. So overall, this set was just filthy. It was pretty disgusting. The dude had told me it was in his shed for about 3 years, and obviously it wasn't a very good shed, very enclosed, because the bird poo on the bass drum. Yep. But Everything was, once I got the grime off it, everything was in pretty decent condition. Like I said, I don't know if you can see that. There's a couple scuffs on the top of the bass drum. I may try to polish those out eventually, maybe if I cut down the bass drum, hit it with some novice, see if I can get rid of most of that. But, I mean, from a couple feet away, it looks great. The bass drum was missing the badge, so I took the badge off the 16-inch floor tom because it's in the back. You never see it anyways. And I had those 2 bottom hoops already in my pot stash and some just generic floor tom legs. But like I said, the bass drum was complete. I mean, just those hoops alone, probably 80 or 100 bucks used. The 12 was in really good condition. All 4 drums were in pretty good condition, honestly. I mean, I just love the sparkles. I love red sparkle. I love all the sparkles, gold, whatever it is. So I'm just hitting on my pearl snare. It's an older maple, 8-inch deep. I got that off of Craigslist probably like 5 or 6 years ago for 100 bucks. And it even had a trick throw off on it, which, I mean, those are 60 or 80 bucks alone. It sounds good, the die cast hoops. For 100 bucks, couldn't beat that either. So yeah, I just threw some used heads on it. The 14's actually in pretty good shape, but the 16 and the 12 are pretty beat up. And for Rezos, they're kind of mixed matched. I don't even know what they are. They have no logos on them. I think one was a Slingerland. But I just wanted to get it playing and see if I liked it. And I may just invest in new heads for it. But I'll bang on it a little bit and let you hear it. I was really kind of impressed with it, especially for the money. So I'm still missing 3 tension rods on the 16 on the Rezo side, but it actually still tuned up pretty good.